Oh,
Oh,
hello.
hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Um,
everyone. Welcome.
welcome to
to-
Left and Correct, the podcast where both of us are left.
But only one of us is correct.
Yes. Oh, here we
What a week.
are.
How's
What
it
a
going?
week. Oh, it's been a day. It has been so dramatic. Um, but
In your
like
personal life or in the news?
personal life, personal life.
Oh,
This is
yeah, I
personal
hear
stuff.
that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like so much so that like I don't really even know what's going on today, because it's just all. I mean, everything's fine. Not everyone in my life is healthy, but like people are. But my little fish Finn is currently not doing well.
Oh,
I know. We noticed yesterday he was hiding. We have a little log, and he's been hiding in the log. Uh, Longer than he normally does. He'll normally just like go in there and then just like peek out and then come out, swim around. But he's just spending more and more time in there. And then when he came out, like we noticed his tail was just like raggedy, and we're like, oh no. And then we test the water and the ammonia levels were too high that were good for little fish. So we changed the water, put him back in. Um, so the water levels are all perfectly normal now, but like he's still very raggedy. And so
mm.
I went to the pet store and got him some, fin and what is it? Fin and body. So I don't know, something like coat protection or something.
Is that something you have a lot with those fish?
Yeah, yeah. It's like if the bacteria levels get too high, or if the ammonia, or like whatever it is, it's like you know. And so I'm just, it's just a little fish. It's so sad. And it's like the past 3 weeks have just been like, oh, there's this like living creature in our apartment. I was like, I'm sorry, what have we done? um
I hear
so
you.
it's a
I
it's
bought
a
a couple of new
bummer.
plants, so I've got a couple of new
Yay,
lives.
yay.
I've been wanting to do it for a while, and one day I just did it.
Fantastic. I'm a fish. I don't know, I'm figuring out. I'm a good plant mom. That I have a lot of I have a lot of plants. But oh, yeah, it's and so like that's been happening. And I'm getting furloughed as of August
Oh
1st.
no!
Yeah, yeah. So like then dealing with that. I mean it was inevitable, right? Like my this job is in, entertainment. It's at the ballet. Like of course, like how could you have people sitting in the theater? How could you have like the orchestra in the pit all together? How could you have dancers dancing? Um, so we'll see. But it's everyone has been really great there and very supportive, and they've been very much like, here's links to unemployment. Here's this. We will be in touch, and you know so it's not necessarily like, oh my god. It's just like I knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah, I
And
never really thought about it, but it seemed weird that you were still going with there being no
right.
ballets, right? There's nothing to.
But it also like in deal because I am in like in subscriptions, because it's people calling about their subscriptions to the ballet, and making donations or getting refunds, like being able to process that for people is pretty much what we've been doing since March. And also like through you know the ballet performs at the David H. Koch Theater, which is a separate entity, with its own outside ballets that come in. So it's, juggling all of that, just making sure everybody, refunds have been processed, or, exchanges made. And, now it's just kind of like, all of that has been pretty much been dealt with. So it's like, oh God. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Well, ideally, so remind my slow brain. So is furlough the same as laid off, or is it different? Are they going to pay you like a
I
little bit?
No, there's I could collect unemployment.
Oh, good.
I guess furlough is, I think being laid off is like you're not coming back. Furlough is like we can't have you here right now, but when we open, like you can come back. So
Nice. Oh, that's
yeah,
nice.
think,
I
yeah.
mean, unemployment is, to the end of this month is a lot of money. So get
I
in there.
know. I know. But no, it starts.
Well, and they might extend it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been reading about the talks. It seems like it's going to be a change of the additional extension. Right now,
Okay.
it's 600 additional a week, but they're in negotiation to make it like 400 a week. Which honestly, like 400 a week, if you're getting the top amount in New York, which is $504, $904 a week is not bad.
Oh,
Uh, you
that's
know,
yeah. No, it's
not by any standard.
yeah.
Um, but there are a ton of problems. I know with people signing up for unemployment. Still I hear about the website going down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I log in to do my unemployment and it goes down. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that they extend unemployment yet again for people like me, but I don't know if that's going to happen. If not, my unemployment ends at the end of the month. So
Oh.
who knows? So we'll need our Patreon to kick in,
There
and
you go.
all
Yeah.
of our fans to start
Yeah.
sending me cash.
So what
Maybe
about
I can.
me? They gotta just send you cash. What about me?
Well, I'm the one without unemployment.
But I got 2 more weeks. Wait a
But
minute. How
yeah,
are you?
well,
How are you?
I mean, not great. As we were
No.
talking personally, I was a little sick earlier this week for all of our fans. We missed our Monday recording because I just felt sick. Um, and I don't know. I don't know. This never-ending unemployment and having nothing to do uh, is entering yet another phase of like ennui for me. I'm just like sitting here like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every day has become like an identical slog to get through. Gosh, it's boring to talk about, but it's pretty darn miserable. I've applied for so many jobs. I've gotten so many rejections. It's so fun when you apply for a job months ago and then they decide to send you a rejection.
Right.
It's just like,
Like,
I mean,
oh.
in some ways, I appreciate getting the rejections because at least you know.
Mm,
But most places still don't send you rejections. So the few that you get, you're still just like, well, this just feels rude. Like, just
yeah.
don't tell me, you know?
Yeah. It's been 3 months. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But
Yeah. I got one to.
we could all just, subscribe to what the White House has a new campaign about this, about unemployment, and it's find something new.
Yeah. I saw that. Find something new.
Find something new.
I
Just
mean, the
that's
trolls who work in DC are so disconnected from how real life functions, you know?
it's hey, find
And
something new.
let me tell you, several times in my life, I have tried to find something new because the day job I've been doing for 10 years, I've said many times, not one I love. It is great for a lot of factors, but like, you know, I would like to do something that's more than just like tedious repetition of math. Um,
Right.
and uh, I have applied for other jobs in wildly different fields, and I don't know who the people are who get, you know, oh, we're going to bring you in and mentor you and train you in a new career
Yeah.
transition. Where does
Yeah.
that happen? Because
That
my
doesn't
entire life,
happen.
I've never been able to change careers. It was like
No.
you get a career, that's what your resume says, that's all anybody wants. Or they don't talk to you. That's what I feel. I don't know.
I mean, like for me, I get my career path. Like I worked at a little jewelry store in Soho in the mid aughts, and then I went into like the office end of it and was doing like customer service, data entry, that kind of thing. Which then when I and then from there I went to another company uh, doing the same kind of thing. And then I was like, I hate this. This is like, I'm going to kill myself. And it was just incredibly, you know. And then I ended up in their boutique on Madison Avenue, doing like back end, like, I guess like assistant managing, that kind of thing. Which then when I got laid off in 2009, that's how I got into the personal shopping stuff at Bloomingdale. So it's not like, like I'm in fashion. It was just kind of like I had these practical skills with dealing with like, high end clientele. And, I, but and also I'm not a moron, and I do like fashions. So it was never like, oh, but in terms of like, this does interest me because fashion is art and fashion can be something, it's an expression of oneself, but that's not what retail is. Retail is just like, here are the metrics and the numbers of what needs to sell and what is trending and what you need to push. But like, and also like, the ladies of the Upper East Side really love their Armani jackets, and it's just like, oh, this is not, it's not what it is. But no, no one ever mentored me. No one ever. There was no sort of. I never felt any sense of, being taken care of in that way
Yeah.
to grow and to do. It was ugh,
Yeah.
and I think that whole idea of like, particularly as it pertains to like women and in the workforce, where it's like mentorships are really important, women in the workplace, it's like it's just buzzwords. No one gives a shit. Everyone's just got out for themselves, just to make themselves look good, just so they can be on a panel and be like, I went to a luncheon of women directors of industry. It's like, it's all this like getting back, it's all this like fake Ivanka Trump, like, find something new. Like, okay, sure. With like millions of people unemployed. Great, cool. All right.
Yeah, that's the thing is I was going to say about these trolls who work in Washington, find something new or go back to their jobs. That's what the GOP is
Right.
saying. We can't extend unemployment additional benefits because they don't want to go back to their jobs. There are
Right.
not any jobs. There
Right.
are not. I mean, yes, there are always jobs per se, but there are not certainly enough like professional skills worthy jobs. There's not enough
Right.
jobs to meet the demand of people that pay a decent wage. Uh, there just aren't. I mean, especially with states going back into lockdown and reclosing food service.
Yeah.
Food service is millions of people, and
Yeah.
it also has a
And
ripple effect
even
on
even if you
suppliers.
right. And even if you can keep like, restaurants open, like they can't work at full capacity because they literally can't. They can't have people inside, even if they can have two or three tables out front, and have 25% of the work staff. And so what happens to the other 75? And then the people who do work, they're not making the amount of money that they were making before because they're not servicing as many tables. What if it rains? No one's showing up. It's a whole friggin' thing. Or even the people on the back end, who's cooking, who's doing this. Like if there were two chefs, now there's only one. It's it oh,
Yeah,
oh, and we're doing better than the majority of the country right now. That's what's really terrifying.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you were talking before about Georgia got rid of all masks or something.
Well, I think
I
this
guess
is
I
the
heard
so
that the
I
governor
have
was
well,
uh,
my understand because I've been dealing with like for like furlough and fish drama, but my understanding, because I know the mayor of Atlanta like wants a mandate of like, we're a big city, please everyone wear a mask, but Kemp, the governor Kemp, like is just like, no, no, you don't have to wear a mask, and like doubling down on this, like, it's all voluntary, everything's under control, it's fine, you don't have to wear one if you don't want to. Meanwhile, like the rates in Georgia are going up and up and up.
mm,
And all these states, like, I don't know if you remember, like back in beginning of June, because they had a lot of these states that opened up around Memorial Day, and like when we were getting into June, and like when the protests were beginning, and it's like, well, the rates haven't gone, or the numbers haven't gone up, and it's like, just wait, like just gotta wait. And so my new thing, and now here we are in July, and like Florida's a shit show, Texas, Alabama, like Louisiana, like all the and Arizona, all the states that were Wisconsin, like we're opening up. Um, but I've been watching Minnesota a lot, like since the protests, to like, to be like, is there a correlation? Because are we seeing spikes? And Minnesota's been pretty good considering.
Hmm.
Like every day there's like 500 cases, 600, 400.
Hmm.
It's like considering everything, it's pretty steady. Um, so which I guess has to go back to like people wearing masks. Like that alone can, help
Well,
keep
in Georgia, you can't have people wearing masks because you never know who's a devil.
when you're at
You
the
know,
crossroads, right?
when you're at the crossroads, and if the devil had a mask on, you wouldn't know who it
You would
was.
know. You would know. I mean, the
You get into a
horns, the cloven
well,
hoof,
okay, well,
the
maybe.
I mean,
I mean, maybe they're wearing full PPE. You know what I mean? I don't know. And
that would
the devil could trick you that way.
he could
You
trick you.
know,
The
so
devil, yeah,
they got to be careful in that state. They
that's
got to
what
be
they do.
careful.
That's what the devil does.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. I don't know what
so
else is going on.
yeah, it's oh, I guess, well, another thing with the CDC, um, hospitals were reporting their numbers to the CDC. Well, now the Trump administration has taken that from the CDC, so people are responding. Hospitals now have to report their numbers to the HHS department, which obviously is, Trump lackeys and all of this, nonsense, and which is frightening because we're I don't know how quickly we're going to see like these numbers get fudged, or if it's like, oh, things are wonderful, and
They're just
meanwhile,
trying to keep the numbers safe. They got to keep them safe. They got to keep those protect those numbers.
just gotta protect those, not keep them down. If you're not if you don't have tests, then you don't have cases and everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Just stop testing and it'll look beautiful.
Stupidest logic. It's insulting. It's just like, and not to be like, I'm a New York elitist, like, no, it's just like, this is stupid logic. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's
Well, uh, to get into something you love, which is defending Democrats, the Democrats pulled yet another nasty thing this past week and put roadblocks in the way of Trump removing troops from Afghanistan. It's very weird that Trump many times has tried to withdraw troops or lower troop amounts, but the right and left get together in Congress and stop him. So once again, they stopped him from doing a massive troop withdrawal, and it's wild. I mean, ugh, I don't. There's no valid. If you, I think if you consider yourself a lefty and you're anti-war, there's no valid reason for it. They just want to keep their military contracts going. But that's something they did.
perhaps.
Liz Cheney led the effort with the House Armed Services Committee
Oh,
too.
Liz Cheney. I mean,
But the Democrats like vehemently supported her in doing this.
the military is a strangely bipartisan
It's always
thing.
bipartisan. That's very
It
true.
is. It's and I know, like, being lefties, it's hard to imagine that. That is something that matters to people. The military, having a strong military presence, making sure, uh, a lot of
Well,
people.
they have a massive control over members of both parties because of having bases in their districts and having weapons manufacturers. We did our famous episode
I
on
mean,
arms trading, you know,
yes,
and uh, it really
but
is true
also,
that
like,
they.
I mean, there's, millions of Americans have served. They have careers in the military. Um, there is this. There is a very much a fetishization of the military. I mean, like, you watch a football game, like, you see, it's just a pageant. It's just a commercial for the armed forces, whatever they may
Yeah,
be. I mean, that's why the
yeah.
whole thing with Kaepernick, where it's like, this has nothing to do with the military. But it's just like if you're watching all this, and then meanwhile he's like, yeah, you know what cops are doing to black people? Yeah, that's why and it's like, oh, can you insult the troops? It's like, what? They have nothing to friggin' do with this. And like all these veterans are like, no, I'm glad he's doing this. What? So it's like it, but and then like crazy Americans are all like, oh my God, the military, and it's a thing, and
Yeah,
so
and it's
and
empire. I mean, lots of people are into empire, whether they know it or not, and
oh
certainly all
yeah,
the representatives are because they're paid off by it. You know, they're paid off by having bases in their districts. They're paid off by
there's not a base in every district. I mean,
there's a
it's
base in
like
every single district now.
every
I
there's
don't
a
know if you
there's
know
a
it.
there. Now, yeah, that's right. There's a base in my apartment, actually,
There's definitely a base in your apartment.
in my fish tank, and that's why it's just fin rot.
I'm pretty sure your fish is a marine. I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh no.
So yeah, Democrats did that with their good buddy
And
Liz Cheney. What else is going on? Scanning the news today, I usually don't read any like local murder news, but did you read about this CEO of this Nigerian startup company?
yes, I just okay. This is the last thing I looked at Twitter before I went to bed last night, and so so I feel bad for the dude, but I don't know what to.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, so his head got chopped off, his limbs got chopped off, and all of his body parts were in the apartment, or
I read it hours ago. I'd have to read it again
I
to
think,
remember the specifics.
and
But he
he
got
lived in a.
the guy just came into his house and there was CCTV of it. Just got in the elevator with him, and as soon as because he was rich, he lived in this elevator opens
Right.
into his apartment. The guy just got out and killed him just right there. I mean,
Oh,
and nobody
that's
seems
like
to know why. But man, I mean, Nigeria gets a bad rap, but maybe it's earning it. I have no idea. I
I
mean,
don't
what
know.
is going on there?
I mean, so because I read this late last night. Could it have been? It was something like, could it have been like bad dealings that fell through, that therefore
Well,
it's revenge?
it probably
You
was because he was doing a startup sort of delivery service, which is something he'd also done in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, yeah,
Yes, and that one is very well funded and functioning. So he's trying to do the same thing in Nigeria, set it up.
right,
It makes sense. It's a motorcycle delivery service that makes a lot of sense for countries that don't have the same standard of roads that they can maintain everywhere. So you can actually get delivery on motorcycles. Great idea. I think the idea was just that potentially it was local funders who expected a faster return on their investment than they were getting. You
okay,
know, maybe maybe just did it. It's just
maybe.
weird that it was so blatant. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
in my mind, when
Um,
some billionaire funder gets whacked, it's always like, oh, he had a heart attack or he fell off a boat. You know,
I mean, it's very. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Movie with Christian Bale. Um,
movie with Christian Bale,
the one,
Batman,
no, not Batman. The
Terminator,
American. No,
American Psycho,
that's it. It's reminded very much. I was going to say American Gangster, and I'm like, that's not it. That
American Pie.
American Pie. But yeah, it's very, very, very much American Psycho of like rich people, and it's like, you like Huey Lewis in the news. I don't know, but I don't know his story. So, um, but it's also very old school New York, don't you think?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
here we are in like the Lower East Side, like just a body is found, no head, and like you know, crime is going up in the city apparently.
Yes, I mean I know that they're not related, but are they related?
But are
I don't
they?
know.
Like, like all these shooting numbers are going up, burglaries, all these things of like, hey, it's like this
Mhm.
thing of like this reality of like, what's that gonna mean for real estate? Hmm. Like, do you think like, Benjamin and Jessica are really gonna get that, apartment in Chelsea? Or they're gonna say, like, you know what, forget it. Let's just stay where we are. And like, I don't know. I don't know. Just it's very strange. Very but I mean, but of course, because but it's not even just New York. It's like this is happening in a lot of big cities. Like violence is going up for a myriad of reasons. So of course the Trump administration is using that as like, you know, the Democrat cities and this is gonna be your America. Like, wait, no, this is happening on your watch, boo. So like what's that about? But
Law and
you know,
Order, baby. Law and Order.
Law
It's
and
the best
I Law and
show.
Order, President, American Carnage. Oh God. Oh God. American Psycho, American Carnage.
American
That's
Psycho. All the American movies.
yeah.
All the American movies. Oh, well, you know what? I mean, what's been missing lately? Clapping is gone. We finished
Clapping?
clapping. Remember clapping at 7 o'clock? That's gone now,
Oh
right?
yeah, that's right. No one claps
Fireworks are
anymore.
gone.
Fireworks they are gone. Yeah. They're
Everything
gone.
we've had to worry about these past few weeks is gone, pretty much. Protesting is not gone, but they don't cover it anymore, so it seems
No.
like it's gone.
But it that happens with a lot of movements. It's like it becomes slower because the media wants the violence. The media wants the destruction. So if people aren't, burning down police precincts or setting fire to cop cars, they're not there, even regardless of whatever the why they're there, for whatever noble cause, whatever reason. It's just, unless, you know,
Yeah, and honestly,
someone's
no one,
cracking skulls,
very
then
few people can't have the ability to march forever for so many
it's
reasons.
yes, yeah, no, like protest fatigue is very real because it's just
Yeah,
like the desire to be there and
but I gotta say, months ago when we were talking about the protests when they started, I said, "Ugh, I don't think anything real is going to come from it, and I unfortunately think I'm right. I mean, we see a lot of tokenism happening, painting Black Lives Matter on the street and changing the names of things, which is like
I
not wrong. It's not
right.
wrong to do that stuff, but it seems like, the mass substantive goals that a lot of protesters had have been dissipated and redirected into things that aren't as groundbreaking.
Well, it's the fight. The fight is it's always an ongoing fight. The idea that defund the police, yes, and then they did like that was never going to happen. It's going to be like weeks, months, and years in order to change that. And I know in 2020, with a lot of people, like incremental change or any like kind of trying to find common ground with different mindsets and stuff like that's not acceptable for a lot of folks. But I remain optimistic because the second you give in to the antipathy of it all, just like oh nothing's gonna, then they've won. They that's what they want you to do is to say nothing's gonna change, and then because then you give up or you don't show up or you're not so as inclined to fight for it. Then so that's
Well, and I don't think you have the answer for it or me when I ask this question, but like, how do you stop that? How do you stop people from giving up? Because, I mean, I don't know.
I'd say
You,
like voices or I think people who are just very negative in their approach or whatever, um keep them in their place in terms of like I hear what you're saying, anyway we're going to do this, like that kind of thing, because it's just like you would with like friends, you have those people that in your life are always very negative and you're just like okay, and you're like I love you, but Jesus Christ, shut
uh,
them, like that. It's just so, um, and also like the more you hang out with negative people, like you yourself start to feel like that. So finding people like-minded people like yourself, finding fellow travelers, where it's like, because the whole thing with abolishing the police is such a wide thing. It isn't even, it's not just as simple as, get rid of them. It's like, there does have to be, some kind
A
of
system, yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
system of people, because people do chop people up in their apartments. It's like,
Yep,
you
yep.
can't send a social worker to do that. So who does that? But because there's so many, like, what is the thing that you feel most connected towards? Is it, making sure that people having a mental episode, cops don't arrive and shoot them, like, so how do we make sure that, it is handled by social workers or people who are equipped to handle that? Or with, like, domestic violence survivors, like making sure that they have an avenue to be safe and be heard and be taken care of, so that cops don't show up and be like, I don't, hey, because they work with them, it's like, so it's, there's many different avenues, because all at once it's just too much. So it's
Yeah.
finding the thing that uh, resonates with you, which makes, oh, everything feels so hopeless, but that's what I say. Like,
Well, that's great. As long as hope lives in your heart, we can continue on.
that's right.
Oh, well, you know what else is too much? This podcast. We got to wrap it
Too
up.
much. All right, wrap it up. That was probably the easiest transition we've had.
It was a very good
That
transition.
was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Well, until next time, I've been Zach Sommerfield.
I've been Adrian Sexton.
And this is
Left and
Left and
correct.
Correct.